Here's a question from Maria. She's trying to figure out what her FPS frames per second is, and she's trying to calculate it some way. I'm not sure. And I'm not quite sure exactly what she's trying to achieve, what kind of look she wants in her video. But let's at least show her how she can examine the properties of her videos. Okay, frame rate is not measured in fractions of a second, first off. But you can always examine the media. You should be knowing what you're filming at when you're filming. But if you're unsure, once you import it into Filmora, when it's up here in the resource panel, not on the timeline, but on the resource panel, you can right-click on the clip and you can go to Properties. And Properties will give you all of the information you need about the particular clip. And particularly what Maria was asking about was the frame rate. So this was filmed at 59.966 frames per second. So essentially 60 frames per second. What does that mean? There was another one here that I did create a proxy file on, and let's just examine that for a second to see what the frame rate here. And it doesn't look like, even though you created a proxy file, that it would change the frame rate, because I know that this particular clip was filmed at 29.97 frames per second. So, which essentially is like 30 frames per second. All right, so what exactly does that mean? What it means is when you put an object down here on the timeline, and let's just stretch it to the length here, it means that between each second you would have, and in this one here we had, our property was basically 60 frames per second. So that means that we have, if we stretch this out so we can see 1 second, I don't know if we can actually see this. Yes, here is second number 5, and here is second number 6. That means that each one of these ticks here now is 1 frame. What's normal, a human person can only observe 24 frames per second, the human eye, but there are faster frame rates which can, if it's like 120 or so, will give you slow motion. So it will give you a smoother transition between the frames the faster you film it. If you're going to cut down on something or speed up, it should be in multiples of the frame rate that you originally filmed it in. For example, so let's get rid of this one for a second and just put this one down here. We know that it's 30 frames per second. So if we set it up here, we can expand 1 second. Let's see, we should only get between the 5th second and the 4th second. There's only going to be 30 frames between each second. So that's how you can examine it. You right click up in the media panel, you go down to Properties, and it will tell you right here not only the video but also the audio, if that's important to you, how it was done. But you can examine the FPS frames per seconds right here.